You've just had a bad breakup and you're sitting around feeling sorry for yourself. You're not sure what to do. You miss them terribly. You just aren't ready to let go and move on. So what do you do when you feel like you can't move on after a bad breakup? That's what we're covering in today's video. Hi, I'm Jeff Campbell from DivorcedParentsClub.com, and I'm glad you're here with me. So first, why do we hold on to an ex after a bad breakup? After all, the relationship's ended. Clearly it wasn't right? So why do we hold on? First is loneliness. It feels good to be with someone else. It feels good to have that romantic connection. It feels good to have sex, if I'm being honest. It feels good. And when we don't have that, when it's suddenly ripped away from us, we're lonely. We don't know what to do. And chances are, if it was a long-term relationship, we may have put our friendships on hold and our hobbies and other activities. We may have put all our eggs in their basket, and now we don't have that basket anymore, and we don't know what to do. Ego is another huge one, because let's be honest, we all like to win, and none of us like to lose. And when we get broken up with, especially if we got dumped as opposed to us dumping them, but either way, it's a clear sign that we did not win. We lost big time. And our ego doesn't like to lose. Fear of abandonment is another one that plagues a lot of us. It plagues me, I know, and it may plague you as well, because a lot of the time in childhood, because of divorce and other situations, we develop a fear of abandonment. And then as we age into adulthood, those affect our attachment styles. And I talk about attachment styles in a lot of my videos. I have an anxious attachment style where, because of my fear of abandonment, I tend to hold everybody close and not let them go because I have a fear of being left. But other people, like people with an avoidant attachment style, also have that fear of being hurt, but they keep everybody at arm's length because they learned at a young age that if they don't let anybody in too close, then they never get hurt. But they never develop emotional intimacy with anyone either. And then the last one is that there's just unfinished business or unanswered questions. Maybe we don't even really know what we did wrong, if we did anything wrong. Maybe we don't know why they left. Maybe we don't know if they were seeing somebody else and they liked them better. Maybe we just don't know, and we don't like having all of those unanswered questions. So how do you force yourself to let go? First is go no contact with them. And this applies whether you have an intention to get them back or not. Either way, it's not good for you to still have ongoing contact occasionally with them. It just kind of like rips that Band-Aid off every single time it happens. It's not good for your mental health. If you need to, and especially if you don't have any intention of getting them back, block them on your phone, block them on social media, block their email, prevent them from having a way to contact you. And if you are still connected on social media and you haven't blocked them, avoid the urge to stalk them on social media, and especially avoid the urge to look at their Instagram stories, because they can actually see who looks at those, and they know that you're out there kind of stalking them, and it makes you look a little bit pathetic. And if you have any intention of getting them back, you don't want to look that way. Next is allow enough time to heal before diving into another relationship. After I got dumped by my now ex-wife in April of 2021, I waited about a year before I started dating anybody. Now, I have read a number of studies that suggest 9 to 12 weeks is the average amount of time it takes somebody to heal from a breakup. But I also think there's a lot of factors that could extend that, or maybe even shorten it. Of course, whether or not you got dumped or you were the person who did the dumping, that impacts how long it's going to take to heal. If there was any infidelity involved, that can make things take a lot longer. And if there was emotional abuse, if there was physical abuse, things like that could make the healing process take a lot longer. So don't be afraid to heal, and you'll know that you're totally healed when you can look at them or think about them and not have an emotional response, either positive or negative. You're just indifferent to them. And it's kind of like an old work acquaintance is how you look at them, and you don't feel anything towards them. Then and only then are you really ready to move on. Acknowledge your role in the breakup. It takes two people to make a relationship, and it takes two people to break one. That doesn't mean that sometimes one person isn't more responsible for the breakup than the other, but everybody has a certain level of responsibility here. So it's good to acknowledge your role in the breakup so that you can learn from your mistakes. But I don't want you to dwell on your role. I don't want you to beat yourself up and say, I'm a terrible person. Remember, what you think, what you say about yourself is programming your brain. If you believe anything about manifestation or the law of attraction, power of positivity, those kinds of concepts, what you say and what you think are what your brain is learning about you. So don't dwell on the negative and don't beat yourself up. Learn the lessons and move on. Understand that this happened for a reason, even if you don't understand that reason right now. I don't really understand why my ex-wife left in April of 2021. At this point, I don't want her back, even if she came crawling and begging. But I still don't really understand why it happened. But it did happen. I have to accept it. I've long since moved on. But most of the time, when something like this happens, it means that something even better is coming in your life. You just have to be patient and understand that eventually you'll look back and understand why it happened. Real quick, if you like this video and you want to see more videos like it, hit that like button for me. It sends a great signal to YouTube, helps me grow my channel, and it's a great way to say thank you to me for taking the time to make these videos. All right, so how do you actually go about letting them go? First is focus on yourself, not them. Focus on being the best version of you that you can be. A lot of us in long-term relationships let our friendships go by the wayside. We let our hobbies and activities go by the wayside. Maybe we gain a little weight. We don't pay attention to our appearance as much as we used to. And we just kind of like, we put all our eggs in their basket. And guess what? That basket's gone now. So get back to doing things that bring you joy, back to doing things that you love, get back to hanging out with people that you love. Along those same lines, have a healthy practice for your mental outlook. That could be anything like yoga. I do martial arts. I also meditate every day. But it also could be therapy, which I did a lot of initially after getting dumped. But have some practice that you like, that resonates with you. It doesn't have to be the same things that I like. And do that on a regular basis to really keep your mind focused and positive and moving in the right direction. And of course, if it's something like yoga or martial arts, you're also conditioning your physical body as well as your mental state. Get your negative feelings out. I'm not going to be one of these people that says, don't have any negative thoughts, focus on the positive, things like that. If you got dumped, you have some negative feelings in you. That's totally natural, totally normal, and I don't want you to shun that. However, I don't want you to dwell on them either. Have a healthy outlet to get them out, and that could be any of the things that I just mentioned, but have a way to release them. You could also journal about it. You could also blog about it. There's a lot of different ways to get your feelings out there. Talking with friends over a beer, whatever you need to do, get your feelings out, but don't dwell on them. Also, don't bury them deep down. They will eventually come out in an unhealthy way if you do that. Focus on your friends. I talked about this a little bit, but your friends are your support network. They are your rock. They are your shoulder to cry on. They are your sense of joy and fun. And as I mentioned, a lot of us let our friendships go or dwindle when we get into a long-term relationship. So reconnect with your friends, reconnect your friendships, and get back to hanging out with these people on a regular basis. They will naturally boost your mood, boost your energy level, and take your focus away from your ex. I also want you to forgive the other person. I don't care what they did to you. My ex-wife, frankly, has done some terrible things and frankly continues to do some terrible things. But I'm working very, very hard on forgiving her and moving on and understanding the concept that hurt people hurt people. And she is a hurt person. I'm also a hurt person. I know I've probably done things to hurt her as well. That's just human nature. That's normal and natural. But don't hold on to anger and resentment towards your ex. That doesn't actually serve you. It doesn't serve her. And if she ever does come back, it's definitely not going to bolster a reconciliation. So don't hold on to resentment and negativity towards your ex. Work on forgiving them. If not for them, for yourself. A lot of the time when we end a long-term relationship, my ex and I, we were married for almost 15 years. That's a long time. And it would be easy for me to think of those 15 years as wasted years and what did I do with my life and look at all that lost time. But the reality of it is, a lot of good came out of those 15 years, including our 3 kids. And we did a lot of great trips together. We have a lot of great memories together. And just because the relationship ended and there's been a lot of toxicity in the wake of that ending, doesn't take away from all of the positive things that came out of our marriage. So don't focus on the lost time. Focus on the good things that came out of it, including the lessons that you learned that will better prepare you for the next relationship that you're in. Focus on being grateful. Gratitude is an amazingly powerful practice that you can do anytime, any day. Focus on what you've got to be grateful for, because what we focus on amplifies. And if you're focused on what you don't have, if you're focused on anger and negativity and frustration, those things are going to grow. And guess what? That's not going to help you. What you want is to grow your life in a positive direction. So the best way to do that is to focus on things that are positive. What's going right in your life? Who are some great people in your life? What is happening right now that brings you joy? What do you have that you can't live without, that you love? Focus on those things. Be grateful for those things. And guess what? Gratitude will help those things increase in your life rather than diminishing in your life. Now, let's say that you're not ready to let this person go. You're just not ready to move on. How do you get them back? There's a number of different ways you can go about trying to get an ex back, but one of the best ways is using the law of attraction, the power of manifestation. And if you want to try that, if you want to check that out, watch this video right up here on my channel. But for now, I'll see you in the next video.